going back to my diagnosis, probably the most effective word that I can come up with is blindsided. That's exactly how I felt. As a 35-year-old active mom of two, I ate healthy, I exercised, I thought I was doing everything right. And, on top of that, being a never smoker and not having cancer in any side of my family, being told that I had lung cancer was completely blindsiding. And I just remember the day that I was sitting in the doctor's office, and I apologize if I get emotional because it's still, even 4 years later, it's still very fresh. But I remember sitting in the doctor's office and hearing those words, and probably the only thing that I remember was kind of a snapshot of all of these experiences and memories. My son graduating from college, my daughter walking down the aisle, shopping for her prom dress, all the things that I wouldn't be here to experience, because what I knew about lung cancer was that it was a death sentence and that I was not going to be here to experience all these amazing things with my family. In my experience, my oncologist and my care team, they're just very well versed in lung cancer. So I was offered comprehensive biomarker testing immediately, a tissue biopsy as well as a blood biopsy. And that really kind of put me, on the fast track to being able to be part of targeted therapy. I had no idea that targeted therapy or a pill was even an option. I thought that the only option that I had was chemotherapy and or radiation. And so being able to, go from not really having any understanding about comprehensive biomarker testing to having an oncologist that really not only pushed for it immediately, but explained it to me, completely in a way that I really understood, was probably where, my journey really just kind of moved into that area where I was able to have that quality of life and, not have to go through those days where I would have to go into infusion, because I was, as part of my initial treatment while the testing was, being sent away, I did have one round of chemotherapy. So to know that there was this pill that I could take was just so encouraging.
Taking care of her, I realized that I need to not put myself in her position. So it was never, I know what you're feeling or I know what you're going through, because I have no idea. And so trying to support her and make sure I support the children. And as far as going to doctor's offices, you want to have those conversations and you want to ask those questions. But I learned very quickly it was important to know that this was Tabitha's journey and her results were going to be hers, and how things worked were going to be her path. And so looking at biomarker testing and how there could be mutations for people, it didn't necessarily mean there would be for Tabitha. And if there were a pill that she could take, you're learning very quickly that this pill might work for X amount of months with this person, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work that long for Tabitha. And so asking questions, writing things down, because the doctors are speaking almost in a foreign language and they're using a lot of words and things, and you're just writing things down. And the doctor was very patient and let us know if you have any questions, follow up. And so just write things down and then go home and research them and look them up and then have those questions. And so for me, in the position that I'm in, it was about trying to not only emotionally be there for her, but also pay attention and ask those questions. I didn't want to talk to her how I was feeling, because in my mind, I'm like, you have enough on your plate. I don't need to burden you with how I'm feeling and make you feel like you have to take care of me. But she and I have been married long enough that she knew when I was struggling, and she would ask me if you're okay, or she'd give me my space. But I think you just have to be honest and open and be able to communicate with each other. Because, like you said, I mean, I guess we're both battling this and we're both going through this, and so we need to attack it together and not attack each other.
I also think that, caregivers don't get enough credit. He has a very difficult job. Not only is he taking care of everything in our house, dealing with the children, my treatment, but he's also, trying to deal with his emotions. And so I think my advice for a caregiver would be, find that support group, find that connection, because that's really important in a journey. And I think being able to talk and share feelings and, speak with people that really understand what you're going through is important, not only for a survivor, but also a caregiver.